Welcome to Milan, ladies and gentlemen. Bienvenuti. It's very, very, very busy Saturday. Um, I am still here for about an hour and a half more. I will be here again in, I guess, a couple of days. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to share a little bit. Now, I'm convinced YouTube may cut out. Convinced may, wouldn't be convinced. I think there's a good chance it could cut out. But I'm up here in the heart and center of what is really the second biggest city in Italy. We're up in the north of the country, a big industrial city, one of the great fashion capitals. There is the theater behind me. It's just beautiful, and some big government buildings around. But in the heart and soul, of course, is this world famous cathedral, one of the largest in the whole world. There's about, Milan's like 1.3 million if you read it, but it's actually, it's about 3.5 million. So Greater Rome is actually bigger, but this is this old industrial heartland of the north of Italy, Lombardy, and you're beside Piemonte, really important part of culture. And for those who love Italian sort of architecture, it is everywhere, needless to say. But these are, of course, the monumental center of these cities. I love it. The food is fantastic. Friendly. It's interesting. People are walking around. I don't want to stick cameras in people's faces, but because it's a great fashion capital, people are continuously, of course, on a Saturday afternoon, dressed up, out and about. I'm hoping everyone can hear me okay. In fact, you know what I might just do to be on the safe side? I might put my headphones in. So let me know. Hey there. Hi. Let me know if you can hear me okay. So I'm obviously, please give me a thumbs up if the sound is still okay. I was just thinking I'm going to walk into such a crowded place. So I'm obviously here running a tour, a 2-week travel tour. So you're welcome to join us anytime. Oh, that's great. Thank you. So you're welcome to come anytime you like on these tours. In fact, I'm going to be running pretty much the same tour with a few tweaks next year. This one is Milan. We're going to be up in Switzerland for just a day. That's right there. Hey. Now, many of you know that I live in a town of about 9,000 people. There's more people walking around out here. But I don't want to put cameras in people's faces, but you can see all the fashions and everything get everywhere. Watching my belongings. There's the Città di Milano right up here. This is the Milan. Oh, sorry, I meant to switch that around. There's the Milan City Hall. Some classic music just starting. So here's Milan City Hall. But this is one of those fashion capitals of the world. Well, ladies, just go out to the forward. Look at this gathering. So I don't want to go and start filming. I've got a bag full of Bitcoin that I've collected over the last few years that I've been getting to everyone on the streets. Just because I got a whole bunch of Italian restaurants. Look at this. I want to take you. Oh, I'm glad the sound is good. Right there. So I'm not pretending in any way, shape, or form to be an expert about this city. Very nice to see you. So nice to see my dear friends and everyone connecting. I know this is quite last minute. I haven't done anything live in a while. I've been doing a lot of travel, and then I was having meetings about this too. Just all this finalizing. When you run your own stuff, you have to cross every T and dot every I. I'm working with a fabulous agency here. Like I said, I plan on putting on a tour next year. Not even planning; it's a done deal. But there'll probably be another 6 or 7 spaces. These are larger groups. I do so many small custom groups these days. Let's just come through for a minute. So last night, I was taken out for dinner, which was really a lovely thing, for seafood dinner. And I've been eating no meat for a few weeks, so I had a lot of fishy food, but it was just fantastic. And it's funny because they asked me if I would choose the wine, and I went down the list, and I just don't know the names and the types of all these different wines around here. Although I went for a bite, of course, having seafood with Sauvignon was really yummy. But mention that when you come through here, if you're into fashion, it is everything you can imagine. And people walking around have got an absolute style to them. I would imagine in some ways it's quite a complicated life to do that, although it becomes quite purposeful in its own way. But the city has got a tramway system and excellent metro. So I arrived into Linate Airport, which is the city airport. I left from London City Airport. Look at this dome above us. These old shopping arcades that go back really to that Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution in Italy, of course, started up here in the north. Everyone thinks, we were just having a good conversation about that actually. Everyone thinks of the Renaissance as Florence, which is absolutely true. That said, really, I always think Bruges in Belgium is the heart of the Renaissance because that's the oldest true bourse or stock exchange in the world. But of course, so much built up in Italy. And all of these places, what's amazing is you have all these monuments to Victor Emmanuel, El Due, Victor Emmanuel, because really Italy only comes together in the late 1860s and then takes till the 1880s before the Vatican states down where Rome is, before you unify Italy. And that's why you actually have such a diversified economy. In fact, I'm happy to stand corrected, but I believe that this is the most diverse economy in Europe. Hi there. Hugs to everyone. So nice to see people joining on. Names I recognize. This is not going to be long because I am pretty busy, but I really felt like I'm going to get a film today. And then probably the day after tomorrow when I'm up in Switzerland, I'll try and do one up in Lugano. You might know there is uh, an Italian speaking canton in Switzerland. Beautiful, beautiful country. Now, coming into Milan. Now, I have not been back to Milan for years and years and years. Now, and so I've had quite a bit of reading up about everything. But you will notice that kind of white up to the sky. This is kind of the downside. So people smile, which is nice. But they also smile at the camera because people hope to get discovered as models here. That's sort of an interesting thing. But you see the air looks kind of white. That's actually pollution, sort of industrial pollution. Um, well, I just have to go on a tangent, which I do often. Not a weave, by the way. You can see Chanel over there. I just read basically the life story of Coco Chanel and how she was a raging anti-Semite. We probably couldn't consider him actually in World War II. Um, Very interesting thing, but at one point was probably the wealthiest woman in the world. I found it just a fascinating read, and I encourage you to read about it. Oh, that's lovely of you. She was so kind. But no, I want to do some more lives. But some of these big tour products of mine, these are the things that I build up over a year. So I think it might be very sourceful. So I was in London for really just uh, a short period. Got up close with my typical friends there. Um, and it's really fun to be up in the lakes north of here. As I was saying, when I was coming into land, um, then I could see these gorgeous snow-capped peaks over the Swiss Alps and Italian Alps and Dolomites. Are you ready, by the way, for the cathedral coming into view? Um, and so come down, and then suddenly I could see the haze over the city blowing right up into the valleys. So, now it is a Saturday, so it's extra busy. I'm thrilled that our reception is holding here, ladies and gentlemen. But I have to show you a big monument. So there is Victor Emmanuel over there on horseback. And there's Gucci. I don't know if it's their headquarters, but Gucci over there. So you arrive in Clanati, you hop into a metro. Excellent system, really easy to navigate. Look at the size of this thing. This thing was built. You might have seen the little clip I put on Facebook earlier today. This thing was built over here there. It was built over, well, from 1386 till 1965 or something like that. 156 meters long, whatever that is, 500 feet nearly, and a width of 80 or something. It has, I believe it has the most number of spires in the Christian world. It's a massive cathedral, Catholic to say the least. And then you've got the museums all around. But it is one of these great industrial cities, which is fundamentally monumental. Remember, I'm the guy who hangs out in places like the Arctic. So whenever I'm in these giant cities, I have fun though. I have fun, and my Italian is pretty rusty. But because I speak Spanish and French, really, we understand. Like, I don't need to would try and convert to broken English to understand each other. I feel very, very safe. I have my wallet in my front pocket, but feel very safe these days coming through here. And then, by the way, if you happen to be a soccer fan, there's AC Milan and Inter Milan, some of the most popular football teams in the whole wide world. Look at that spectacular gallery. Yeah, so the Arctic is a whole different world. There's more people walk around here than there would be in all of Turkey. So, so from here, we're staying at a hotel out of town, which is lovely, and it's well, really good quality. It's quality. The thing about Italy is because it's so regional, things can change. breakfast is really good this morning, but it's um quite oh there's Liverpool in the house talking about football over here, soccer over here. That's all right. I actually had a dream last night. It's pretty warm in my room, and I actually had a dream about playing ice hockey. So I obviously wanted to cool down that way. But there's a whole thing. I mean, Italy really is its own world. And I do find, and you're going to find over the lives that I do over the next 10 days, that you do get this place. I mean, it's fabulous architecture, but it is very dominant, very monumental, and a little less green around it. So, some people just love that kind of urban feel. Happens to get around to people here. But what I do love in modern Europe, about many things I love, but look at that live, I guess it's advertising over on the right. But the fact that's integrated onto the side of where they're obviously doing some work on the cathedral, it's pretty brilliant, you know. But in Milan, like I mean, really only parts of Paris and I guess New York are still. There's Tiffany and Co. Yeah, the weather is gorgeous. It's probably 22 degrees, if anything, on a little warm. But I can feel that bad air quality. I've got a little bit of a sore throat. It's just something that sadly happens to me when I come to these cities. I know when you live in them, you get used to it. But it's still a giant, basically straight north is where you get up to famous Como and Lugano, those huge lakes that are beautiful, long post-glacial lakes. Um, and I say, well, I did see a few glaciers flying in yesterday, but you have all the huge Alps, and then basically you wash out into the Mediterranean at Genoa. I'm sure you've heard of Genoa. That's where Giovanni Carati, John Cabot sailed over and put up the English flag in 1497. It was clear to the newfound land. And then you go the other way, clear across. So when I'm back here in a couple of days' time, then we'll be here. And then I'll head out to famous Verona and then all the way out to Vita de Heselo, which is kind of the mainland side of Venice. Sorry, someone's singing it, but it's beautiful. I don't know if it's coming to my ears. I go over to Vita de Heselo, and then Venice, which is dead side. But of course, those are the city states. Island states are trading for three or four of them in Italy once upon a time. And then you've got up in that corner, you might have joined me a couple of years ago by Trieste, which is the border up with Slovenia. And that still, some people there still want to be a free port. Gentlemen singing, and the crowd is singing along with them. It's just beautiful. Hey, everyone. Isn't it lovely? Then you get a lot of this semi-functional kind of architecture. A lot of this goes back to that 1930s when there was sort of a forced industrialization in Italy, of course, under the Mussolini time. You might remember 1923 was the birth of the term fascism comes from Italy, and that was Mussolini. I hope you're like, again, I'm not pointing my camera specifically at anyone, but you see people just to the nines out for a walk on a Saturday afternoon. So when you're known as a fashion city, I felt very underdressed on the flight yesterday. I did actually have a blazer on. I was surprised to actually see Tommy Hilfiger over here. There's a big house in Montreal. But you see a few names. You see all those really high end sort of products. No, it is. It's a neat city. It's again big city. Two big airports, and but you drive north and get up to Turin. And also keep in mind, I'm too far from them now, but there are Olympic rings around because we have the Olympics up in Cortina, north of here, coming in February. And I would be very tempted to try and come back. Of course, Winter Olympics, which I have a passion for. So pretty fantastic. Really good. People doing some street performing. But this is lively Europe on a Saturday night. Wealthy, very wealthy city, and a city that culturally, from what I understand, and again, I don't want to speak for that, completely, but where it's kind of okay if you're well-to-do to show it off. I will tell you, one of the real hard things here in Italy now is because there's such mass tourism, is it is hard to get tickets for anything. So, I mean, I've got just such a fabulous agency here, but we have gone through, just adjusting every single time to get tickets for flights because there's so much of cities, young people drinking public water. Remember that in Rome as well. Such an important part of life in Italy. Water goes right back to the Roman Empire. Needless to say, Rome was the heart and soul of that, and all roads led to Rome. But Aosta, which is the valley up north of here, right along the border with Switzerland and France, has actually got the second most number of Roman ruins because it was so significant as well. Most of these places, any community around here, you're going to see it dating back to, well, times before Christ. And then it just depends who came through, who invaded, who controlled it. There's Swarovski coming all the way out of Austria. Well, anyway, that's a little 15-minute taster, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank you for giving me the donation. I appreciate that. Just a little 15-minute taster. I really do have to go because I am a working fella here, but I just wanted to share just a little bit, uh, just a little taster. I will try and squeeze in some lives, I promise. Please feel free to share them on your social media and everything because that's just good for us. That's so funny. I like clothes. I'm not that into fashion, but it's fun walking around looking at people and their style, both men and women, right? So it's but sì, va bene, tutto bene. Ciao, ciao a tutti. Thanks for coming to hang out, everyone. I hope everyone's happy and healthy, and thanks for being part of the community. I promise I'm going to try and leave more things. It's amazing that YouTube is held here. My battery keeps burning up because, of course, my Canadian phone, and that's just another reality. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you one more just fun view back up here of there it is. So there is the cathedral and it's lovely. So take care and I will see you all on a tour soon. By the way, my tour in France next year is totally full and I will be having one to Switzerland. So there's uh, no space on that. I might have one or two spaces maybe in Portugal, which is later April. And I've got a bunch of people who have reached out about the Northern Lights in early March. So keep that in mind because it sounds like that's a go for 100%. So va bene, grazie mille a lei. Talk to everyone soon. And as the week goes on, my not Spanish, my Italian will improve, I promise. Take care. Ciao, arrivederci.